Yeah. You could say it's about that time. Once again, for a Tuesday night live stream right here on the Emceemur Show. And you know this is something that we always have fun with. Hope a bunch of you are ready to come out tonight and have some fun with the AtGames Legends Flashback Deluxe that we've done so much work on. We've got so many neat programs on here to look at. And the first one I want to look at tonight, not that we won't take requests as we go, but it's Experts on the Sega Genesis. I've had this game for years. A physical copy on the shelf. I just never messed with it. It's just not a game that I ever played back in the day, but by golly, it's here. And from what I've seen of it, I'm like, God, why didn't I play this game back in the day? It looks really good. And at the same time, you could argue it doesn't, but I think it does. It more does than doesn't. Let's get into it right now. Proceed with mission. Begin new mission. I'd like to begin a new mission, please. So you're in this base and you've got certain checkpoints you got to do things at, but then it gets into some nasty hand-to-hand and, you know, whipping a piece out on some people and mowing them down in the hallway. This thing has a lot of qualities to it. We're going to take a look at some of those right now. Stop me if you're familiar with this one. We believe the terrorist goal is to steal the technologies held to the highest bidder. Okay, so yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is it. So dude has got some really funny and janky movements that he does, but he's got some cool moves. He can jab, he can do a really silly kick. And you know, the D-pad changes the functions. He can punch you in the ding-a-ling. You know, he does some things. I can't remember what it was to look at the modules there. You got to actually activate the computers and make them do things. Here we go. We're scrapping. Oh, he sweeps the leg. Look at that. A little bit of blood. A little bit of blood. That was a big deal back then, if you could get that. There we go. Oh, we got company. I'm trying to figure out how to look at the computers again. I thought you just hit up in front of it, but maybe we need to eliminate all the bad guys first. He's done for. Oh, see, he's got his gun. Look at that. Ooh, ooh. And I found it funny that the gun actually doesn't seem to do nearly as much as good hand-to-hand. It's just one of those things where it's convenient because you can do it at a range, but it takes a lot of bullets to stop your enemy. Now and you're also stationary when you pull out the gun. There's nothing else you can do at that point. He can't walk and shoot, which is a very strange mechanic. What up? Nice cross, a punch to the kneecap. Their screams are hilarious. Now this complex is big. There's an elevator to take you to the different floors. And as the objectives are laid out, it becomes more clear which floors you need to go to. Access restricted. Of course it is. Uncle Strange has joined us. Welcome, Unc. I can't figure out how to open the doors on this thing. I can make him dance and do silly things, though. I would whip out the manual, but my copy of this is cartridge only, so let's see here. course, there's only 5 million things called experts with an X because that's so clever. We figured out how to pull the weapon out. I thought we did. I didn't know how to do that fancy sweep earlier.
Secondary mission active.
He can actually kind of grab with the C button, but I thought that was what he used to access the terminals. Let's see. We got a pretty neat layout here with all the manuals online. That's kind of cool. Except that this one's not on it. Yeah, this is not a game I've ever heard too much about. Again, I'm intrigued by it most of all, you know, more than anything. I see that Daniel Marquis has joined us. I also see that our chat is not showing up on the stream. Because you guys are saying stuff and it's not on here. Well, we might as well just keep playing at this point. This is why I've gotten out of streaming, because nothing ever works right, no matter what you do. And if it finally does, they update everything and then it stops working right again. Daniel says, your reviews are very organized and professional. I appreciate that, man. Something I work hard at and something I hope you enjoy when you watch. Oh, look, he did it. If I only knew how he did it. So A and B simultaneously to pull out a gun. What kind of a control is that? See, I can say something in the chat here, but it's like... I think I know what happened. I think the YouTube chat is what's not on here anymore. Now I think I know what's going on. What about that? Oh well. I can read y'all's chats on the screen. It doesn't have to be on here. I've got it pulled up. So proceed with the adventure. Now we just got to figure out how we looked at that thing. It wasn't that. And I didn't do that. Put the gun away, dude. It definitely wasn't the upper buttons. Alright, well. This is Experts on the Sega Genesis. Experts with an X. Oh, he's doing something now. It was up and B and C. I've done that a million times and it didn't do anything.
Primary mission complete.
Nothing to do there, apparently. The mode button clicks on the actual system menu. Atari Creep is here. Roaming Dan is here. Welcome, guys, to the stream. I guess we're going to walk all the way to the elevator and see what it do. He walks like the Terminator with a rolling pin up his butt. Again, I won't tell you what it looks like he's doing there. Not typing. Oh, we're waiting on the elevator now. He's got some big old arms. He can pick his toe jam without bending over. Okay, elevator. So is it here? Yep, it's here. Oh, well, we got company. Come on out. Okay, this is the part where you turn around. Blood's coming out of his ankle through his boot. The combat just looks cool. If I'd been handed this game in the 90s, I would have thought this was awesome. Okay, so the door's shut. Can I get back in now? Okay. But how do we know where to go? One of those things was supposed to tell us. By cutting Datacom main power, you can sever access to the satellite dish. Reroute 2 main power grids on level 6. Complex Control A.
Zack active.
Okay, so we have 2 other agents, and I don't know if we switch to those or what we do.
Active.
Okay, that just took us somewhere else. Yeah, the dude's definitely got the reach, doesn't he? Double J Jason Joseph has joined us. Welcome, Double J. Now, you know, we'll leave the gun put up. Let's do this hand to hand. I can't tell if he's trying to grab him or grapple him or what he's doing. And then are these things we can interact with? Yes, just not right now. Okay. Ooh. Romy Dan says, I finished AC Origins. First finish of 2020. I finished God Wars finally. That's my first finish. Not Another Game Collector has joined us. Welcome, NAGC. Always glad to see you here on TNL. Oh, he shot me. And I'm only wearing a vest and a red t-shirt. So it's like, does he do something right then? He's just checking something? Notice we got facehugger aliens in the back there. This does kind of have an alien feel to it, even though these aren't... Oh, maybe they're aliens. They're humanoids, though. Okay, so we can't go in here. And dude can't run. So he's got a long walk. Big JB Jeff Bailey has joined us. Welcome. Colonel Matrix would eat him for breakfast. I don't have the chat on screen tonight because Restream is on the fritz. That's nothing new. First it was YouTube chat, and that's why we switched to that. I guess it's time to switch back. Whichever one wants to work, I guess we'll use. But there's always something going wrong in any given live stream. I can't tell you the last time we had a flawless one. But regardless, we have so much fun here, including and not limited to people that come off elevators backward wanting to start a fight with this guy. Ooh. Can we interact with these things? No, we can't go that far up. I didn't think we could. The Woodbury and Retro Game Hunter is here. Welcome, Wood. We wanted to go to the 6th floor, I thought, which I think that's where we were. I don't know. You could do a ton with this, but we're not going to obviously figure it all out tonight. So we're on tour tonight. We're looking at all the different things that this ROM set has to offer now that we've added them on there. So, Dr. Zoidberg. Let's see what we have here. You know, I made a list of ones that I wanted to see. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Let's look at that one. God Wars took every bit of 100 hours, and if you buy the complete edition, there's 100 more hours in DLC and then some right after you finish the game. And it's like legit content. It's not like, oh god, well I don't really want to do this. It's like the story's still going. So great strategy, tactics RPG. I can't say enough good things about it. And it's not a pushover. It was not easy. Anybody that's played Assault Suit Lanos since it has relaunched on the PS4, this is what that was, and it's on there, of course, a version of this. But, you know, I was playing Target Earth back in the day, and it was so much fun. But the only way to beat it was to use the invincibility code. And if you're telling me you beat this game without such a thing, you're lying. I'm sure somebody's done it. I'm sure you can see a video of it right here, but this game was not built to be beaten. It was built to beat you. But so good for a shooter, and had an underlying storyline to it, you know, with characters, which you don't really get in a shooter all too often. I mean, even your enemies exploding after you kill them hurts you. It's the most unforgiving shooter you've ever played. Or you've never played, I don't know. If you haven't played this game, yeah, pick it up for Genesis if you can. But also, pick it up for your PS4 if you can. The LG gun is unlimited ammo. Everything else is limited. And you get extra attachments as the game progresses. And you gotta really conserve what you've got. And pick your battles, because, my god, you scrap with everybody, you're gonna get killed. In this first mission, we have an enemy warship closing in on the base, and we have to destroy it before it gets to the base. And even then, it's not just like, oh, game over. If it gets to the base, it's gonna destroy it, but you still have some time to finish it off. And there it is. Now you heal as you go. You sit there long enough, you will heal. This thing's like an aerial mine that you can shoot. Oh god, I'm almost dead. He got me. God, you gotta be on your game, buddy. I'm gonna tell you what. You don't just come in here and take this game on. I don't think I've gotten through the 6th level of this, and I think there's like either 8 or 10 in all, but it ain't happening. We'll try one more time. Yeah, this console is worth picking up for the price. I know a lot of people have a predisposition to the brand, and they're just like, because I mean the first Genesis one they put out had some issues. I never did own it. I mean, because of all the issues I was told it had, I passed up on one for $5 at a yard sale once. Now, you couldn't add games to it that I know of. Otherwise, I'd have been like, forget your reviews on it. I'm going to take a shot on it. And there's just no issues with these. These are clean ROM sets. The games play well. There's really no sound delay. People that say there is one, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. It's that kind of thing. Notice I'm picking my battles here. I'm not shooting these guys. There's too many of them. I gotta space myself out. or I'm gonna get killed. Ooh, and you can't reload that LG gun, and it reloads automatically when it's empty, but there's that little second of reload time, and oh my gosh, it gets you. Oh god, we went way too far. We didn't have to come out that far. You can let it come out a little bit. But here's the trick. The faster you blow up the warship, you get extra points at the end for how many miles, you know, how far away from the base you could keep it. And those points at the end are not your score points, they go towards accumulation of additional weapons. So you have to do as well on that as possible too, because if you don't get certain weapons by the time you reach certain levels, sort of in the way that you get enough hearts to finish Double Dragon at certain points, it becomes a much tougher road for you. And unfortunately, unlike Double Dragon, this is a game that's already blisteringly difficult, and you don't need any more difficulty than it gives you. God, look, I can't even get off the first level tonight. Now, what they did with the remake was true to form. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And again, there's the original game on there too. So you can pick this game up for the PS4 for about 20 bucks. And it's a must-see just because of what it is. And if you're a shooter fan, it's a must-see, period. You don't want the enemies to pile up, but pile up they will. Now the guys in brown, the little loaders and stuff like that, they're on your side. And the further you get into the game, you start getting some allies, you know, in the mix that actually can shoot back and can actually help you out. You know, including but not limited to actual warships flying through. But my goodness, it's brutal. Oh, there's a rhythm to stay out of the line of fire, and that's not it. Oh, like I said, even their explosions hurt you. Look how busted up I am now. I can only hope. And look, it's totally randomly generated, but there's a small warship from their side coming to help them, like they stinking need help. I killed an enemy, and his explosion killed me. Rough, man. Anyways, moving on. Yes. You know, we're not looking at obvious stuff. We're looking at stuff that's, you know, you might have heard of and you might not, but more likely you haven't. And the reason for that is it's stuff that you're going to want to take a look at. This game right here. And Woodbury knows about this game. He's got it physical. I have it physical for my Atari ST, but I do not have a Genesis version. A gem from Ballistic for the Genesis. Onslaught. David McCormick has just subscribed. Welcome, David McCormick, to Mur-Nation. Couldn't be gladder to have you on board, buddy. And you're coming in at such a great time. We have such an amazing 2020 plan for you. Haven't even begun to get into some of the stuff that I've got coming your way soon. Yeah, it was a blast, man, working with Gen X, as it always is. And EC kind of helped us out, too. And he's a really cool cat, does some really fun streams. Part of our D&D campaign is loosely based on this game. You're probably wondering, how is that? It's a long story. We don't have time for it tonight. Fangwort attacks the kingdom of Badzog. These maps are randomly generated. Your character name is randomly generated. These clan names are randomly generated. They're part of actual religions listed. You know, actual cults in the instruction manual. They explain who they are and what they do. I had to take on one with vehicles right off the cuff. This game gets an A+ for its music. The little shield things are your power-ups. And they all expire, leaving you with just your mace eventually. Like the blue mace I've got right now on the shield is like a one-hit deal. And it's expired. Now I'm throwing hand grenades, which aren't doing me much good in the scheme of things here. Oh my god, I'm getting run over. I'm dead. I got run over by a giant cart. I missed the part about the 2,700 plus ROMs, all playable from the SD card. Yes, they are. And you didn't miss anything because we didn't explain really how to do that here. There were the prior video to this explained putting that on the SD cards, as well as a video prior to that explaining how we got the NES and Super Nintendo ones on there. So, and there's not much to it. There really isn't. So, the only problem we did run into was volume. We got almost 10,000 games on this thing and it croaked. Not permanently, but it just didn't want to read the files. So we split it. 2 systems on one card, 2 systems on another card. Just swap them out the back. It's not like you have to, it's got a slot, you know, it's not like you're disassembling the thing. So, yeah, it's just like putting a cartridge in a game system. A very minor inconvenience for the purpose of having so many games. But basically, you're attacking all these different clans on a procedurally generated map. And the first map of each location is the battlegrounds. You'll take on the armies of that cult. Then you will face the god of that cult in a magic battle. And then you're good to go. You conquer that part and you move on. Now they can do the same to you. If they push you back so far that they get your you know, each one has their seal and their tapestry on a stake at one end of the field. So if they kind of capture your flag, so to speak, then they can force into a battle with your god, which is, you know, you control at that point. You take them on in another spell battle, and they can finish you off too. So it's a game of conquering. It is really cool, man. It's more than what we did with the first Legends Flashback, which some people claimed they got Nintendo to work on theirs. I never did. It was a mess with the updates and all that. I don't think anybody really knew which ones did what, and none of the ones I did would take past just putting the Genesis games on there. And, you know, I left well enough alone with that, too, because, you know, 6,000 Genesis, Mega Drive, whatever ROMs on there. I was like, man, that's good enough. I don't want to break this thing. And so we just kind of let that thing go to sleep. But here comes the Deluxe, and the first thing on my mind is, what are we going to be able to do with this one that we didn't do with the other one? So see, I've captured their flag. We got to fight a little bit longer here, stay out of harm's way, and then we'll proceed to siege their castle. I left that part out. You got the castle part as well as the battleground part. JP, John Phillips in the house. Welcome, buddy. Drinking some vodka and checking in on Emceemur. That sounds like a night to remember right there. Or not remember, depending on how much you put down. John Phillips has some really good hip-hop on his channel. Some really cool productions. And it makes me think back to my days of producing hip-hop as an MC. A lot of people see my name and they're like, Emceemur. I don't think they get it. But it's Emceemur. And it's in the literal sense. I was an MC once. I used to be danger on a microphone. And you know, I could make a comeback, but I'm old and domesticated now. So at least for tonight, we're going to sit here and play some Onslaught. Okay, so they killed me. Bummer. Also not an easy game, and not a game that you're going to beat. If anybody thinks they beat Onslaught, I don't know how you did it. You have but one life to give this whole map, and then you're dead. Look at this dude on a horse now. Like I said, the armies change. There could be wizards, mages, you know, barbarians. We got knights. We got moving vehicles, carts, horses. You never know what they're going to have, but it'll be based on the god they serve, and it tells you in the data before you actually get into that area what type of army you're facing and who they serve. Whether it be a death cult, whether it be, you know... There's elemental gods and stuff like that, and then there's actual temples to these gods where you can go right in and take a god on and occupy a temple space too without having to deal with an army. So it's just a really cool game. The ST version is different than this only in appearance. It's the same game. But in this game, your barbarian looks like this, and in the ST game, your barbarian looks like the big monster barbarian on the cover that actually is depicted as being an enemy in that scene, but that's actually what you look like in the Atari ST version. You have the spell where the demon faces come out and eat their souls. That's the most effective because it's like a smart bomb or an image recognition missile you can just fire and forget. But like I said, all these power-ups are limited. They're random drops. No one enemy guarantees you a special thing. You have the red tapestry on the right, which you may have gathered by now is your blood and your life. And your mana is the blue on the left, which is also your mental health. If that completely depletes, then you're dead too. And you want to keep a steady flow of the red scrolls coming in so that when you use them, you're instantly replenishing some health. Oh, see, I keep hitting these landmines, and that's not doing my health any favors. Guys, remember to smash the like button while you're in here. Most streams like this one also have a lot of replay value because we go over the things that we do and we see the things that we see. So for people watching the recap, even though they miss it live, there's still some value in there and what they'll come back and see later. So dropping likes just make sure that more people get a chance to see the video. Who's riding horses around inside a castle? Oh, come on now. Yeah, have a grenade. I'm coming through. Oh, this is brutal. Get it. Riding horses on the top of the castle, no less. I feel like if we stay toward the edge here, we won't see any more horses rolling through. I've got to do all this with the Legends Ultimate Arcade. Now, that's something I haven't picked up yet. Not because I don't want one, but my wife even wants one. She wants to put it downstairs. Just haven't picked it up yet, man. It's a big ticket item, and we're already making some big arcade purchases this year, and we don't even know what they are yet because Southern Fried Game Room Expo has not happened yet. But we're going to see how the Legends Ultimate does. I mean, maybe there's going to be some deals later on. It's not something I'm urgently needing to pick up, but it would be nice to have. Alright, we picked up the seal. Can we move on now? Get on with your horse self. The mat. You gotta keep on fighting until they call it. The faces will just stay there too if they haven't expired yet, which is good. They can still work for you. And if your power-ups are full, you can't get any additional. So if you see a red scroll, you need to hurry up and burn up what you're working on, so you can get that health. Runka. Okay. Moving on to the God battle. The enemy lord. And yes, he's an octopus thing with a different head. And they attack your actual mana power on the blue side. So as you can see, power-ups for that are appearing on the sides. His arms are getting shorter as I bombard him with magic. And we've won. Any intentions on trying some other emulators on this machine? I don't know, Dan. I don't know how much more I need it to do at this point. I mean, it would be nice if it did Coleco stuff. I don't know any way to make it do that without being able to implement use of the keypad on those ROMs, which, as far as we know, it will not do, so. But yeah, I don't know what else I need this thing to do. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just not capable of running other emulators. Because my thought would be if it could run anything better than what it's got, maybe they would have gone for that already, and maybe not. But the only thing I really need anything to do right now that nothing in my room is doing is to run some disc-based games. And by that I mean Turbo Duo. And I know what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy a capped Turbo Duo this year, which I don't want to do. But it's just one of those things that you're not going to get that for $1 at a yard sale. I know there's people that have done it, but if you're going to wait for that to happen to you, it probably is never going to happen. And I don't want to be on my deathbed finally getting that Turbo Duo. Oh, I can finally play Valis 2 now. I just don't want to do that, man. I want it now. Valis and Final Zone, two of my favorite Genesis games, got sequels only on the Turbo Duo. And yes, it's going to be pricey. I mean, I've seen them as low as $300 and as high as $600. I mean, it's a mess. I hate how he can't control how far he throws that. So you're usually just overthrow. Yep, we're gonna shoot some crossbow bolts here. No shortage of blood in the game, albeit cartoony. So we'll move on. We've got other games to look at. Oh yeah, that's one I was gonna look at. And again, Atari's on here too, and it's not that we're not going to look at that, but we've looked at those on a lot of episodes, so I feel like there's not a ton left to show you on that, but... yeah, this is the one. There's a very buggy alpha version of this game available on the Genesis side on my old Legends flashback. Oh, this is it. This is the actual buggy alpha version. Legal screen. Yeah, let's play it. Because the Super Nintendo one is, of course, there wasn't one for it. That, well, if there is one, I don't know about it, but I don't even know if there's any sound on this, or if it even goes past the screen. But that's a buggy alpha clip of Wrestlemania Arcade. Yeet that. The arcade game. This should be the actual one. We had so much fun with this game when it came out. Yeah, the, what is it? Retromania? What did they call it? Looks like fun. What is it? Oh, come on, recover. High risk attack. Well, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Okay, I was gonna say, I thought that was the button for it. Why wasn't it doing it? I'm getting tore back by Razor Ramon, no less. Off of me. And just like that, I'm done. No, keep going. I want another run at that. That's not how we want that to go. We're not going out like that. Bring in Flexi Lexi. They also did WWF In Your House, this style. Quick reversal! And it was on PS1, and it was a pretty cool game too, with a different roster, of course. Ultimate Warrior was on it. Ah, I wanted to go up top. What a ripoff! Ronka! No, we gotta get the combo off. You turkey. I'm gonna end up losing because I'm trying to do something he ain't gonna do. Now sometimes you can kick out when you got a combo banked. I guess that's not gonna happen tonight. Video Game Lover 58's in the house. Welcome BGL58 to our Tuesday night live stream. You're just in time to see me wrestle Razor Ramon here. Ronka! There we go. Trying to get a combo off. Oh, he gets the kick out. You have to give credit to Lex Luger. Yokozuna. So if you remember, the Super Nintendo version did not have Yokozuna or Bam Bam. It was only a 6-man roster. Which was kind of kooky because, I mean, a game that you're going to actually have to fight so many different fights to have less is definitely not more. Oh my god, look at Yoko going to town here. You're not getting Yokozuna up that high. But the Super Nintendo version was the first version I had of this, and we had a blast with it. And then I ended up with the 32X version too, which was nice to have, and again had the roster that the Genesis one had. In fact, I think I only have this on 32X. I don't think I have the Genesis version. I've got it on PlayStation 1, and I've got it on Super Nintendo and 32X. Look at Yoko. God, it's been so long since I've played so many of these games and trying to relearn all the controls that used to be second nature to you in the 90s. It reminds me all too quickly how soft current gen games have made me. And I know plenty of other people aren't feeling that burn, but I guess I am. No. No, we're not going to fall victim to that. Step on him. Man. We're going to look at some Atari ROMs after this one. I love how comical things fall out of their bodies when you're beating them up. God, you can get like 30 hit combos off if you mix the buttons up just right. It's like a game of Simon gone bad for the brain. I used to pull off 22 hit, 28 hit combos. Look at the ham coming out of him when I dropped him. He was hiding a ham in his undies in case he got hungry. No, I reversed that. Get out of here with that, Yokozuna. Hit him! Man. Doink the Clizown. Got him. There were some great wrestling games on the PS1, and then there were some really bad ones too. That were still great for their time, and then some of which were just bad and were not great for anything. But all of which are great to look back at. I remember when the PlayStation 1 came out, and as those specific games came out, and how amazing they were to see. WCW versus the World, a little polygonal for most people's taste by today's standards, but it's great. And then we were going to WCW so much at the time that I'm actually visible in the intro to the game for just a second. And it's like, oh my god, I'm on the game. So, instant cool points for that. WCW Nitro tried a different formula, and that did not work out for them because it was terrible. Oh, I love the face slam. I always wanted to do that to somebody. Ronka, he completely missed. I prefer the N64 wrestling games, of course. Now, NWO Revenge wrote the book, buddy. Wrote it and signed it on controls, on what a wrestling game should be. THQ lost their way, then lost their company. And, you know, what's done with the 2K games now? You know, if you like that, cool, but I was not able to get into any of them. Everything you try to do is some kind of ridiculous mini game, and it's just, to me, I was like, man, I don't even want to learn this. This isn't even an enjoyable play style for me. I'm like putting in the Contra code trying to pin somebody. It's like, this is just ridiculous. On a controller with how many buttons, you know? So there's a perfect example of a less is more scenario where it's like, I mean, dadgum, boy, it did not need to handle like that. And I keep planning to pick up a newer iteration of WWE and just try it and see if they've ever made any changes to it. They always overthink the controls. And, you know, wrestling's not the only game that 2K does this with. I mean, after 2K5, there wasn't a baseball game I could get to do right. It didn't seem like to me. 2K6 was okay, but they started implementing some pitching changes, and from there it just went all cattywampus. There's that 9-hit combo again. NWO Revenge was good, and No Mercy, I think, was the other one they did that was in that same format. Alright, we're not going to sit here and take the championship. Let's move on. We got other ROMs to look at. This is the tour. Oh my god. Back to the menu. Woo! Here we go. Pardon me. Alien Pac-Man. You ever seen Pac-Man breathe fire? I hadn't. Some of these ROMs, I just don't know where they came from. Somebody made them, or... And I'm not really clear on what the rules are here. Because there's a pack pellet, and it does what you think it would do, but not for very long. So the fire looks like it scared the ghost the other way. So it's like Pac-Man has an extra defense mechanism. There's also no sound on this. And I guess those are the treats, albeit weird-looking ones. Now, I ate the pack pellet, and it didn't make the transition quick enough to give me credit for having eaten the ghost. That's weird. Alright, so what you do won't take effect immediately. And look how quickly they change back. Well, they didn't that time. Very interesting. All right, let's try that one again. But this is the kind of the weirdness that you're going to encounter, you know. No Mercy had a bug that would blank your save file. Boy, my buddy was... Let me tell you, I would be definitely mad at that. Not in a generic sense either. I can tell you, I worked hard customizing all the characters on my copy of NWO Revenge. And I made some more... I made bogus stings out of some of the characters that just really don't have any relevance. Because you remember at the time, stings were coming out of, you know, to the ring to take people on, and they weren't really sting; they were just bogus stings. And it became such a common thing in the story. Like, oh, bogus sting! They would just call it out like, oh, here's a bogus sting. I was like, well, man, when we have our Royal Rumbles, I want bogus stings coming out. I want it to be that authentic. I want my Royal Rumbles to be so authentic, we have bogus stings. Or Battle Royales, as it were. Got a treat. Beating feet to get a treat. See, you got there's a hit box there. And then there's something there that you can't move through. So just because you touch the dot, don't mean he's going to eat it. And that fire is only temporary. That wasn't helping me permanently there. Yeah, you get all the belts on there, and you get who you want with them, and it's like, man, you don't want that erased. I'm trying to figure out the mechanics of this. I mean, I think the fire is just a temporary thing to get the ghost off your butt, but he's still coming. You don't get 4 pack pellet, superpower pack pellets. Look, he didn't get that pellet. It's got to go all the way down the pipe. You can't touch it and make a quick turn. So the mechanics of this, a little different from what we're used to in regular Pac-Man. But I appreciate it for, you know, just seeing something. To be able to see new 2600 programs in 2020, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and you can do it with this machine. So, all right. Are we going to finish a screen here? We're gonna finish... Oh my goodness, what's going on here? Is this like Frogger? Guess we're going to die before we find out. Oh my God. All right, well, that's unique if it's nothing else. Let's see what else we got. So there's more than one Astro Blast here, and that's interesting to me. If anybody saw the new Astro Smash for the Intellivision Amico, I was very impressed with how that looked. I know Atari Creep got a look at that. So did Brian's Man Cave. They did some really good coverage of that. So good hustle on that, guys, and a great look at that. I really like the cut of that thing's jib. I realize it's entering a very volatile market with something that, I guess we want to call it experimental or bold, but you know, I'm the demographic for that. Certainly, I don't know how many others like me there are that are wanting something like that, but I want it, and we're getting it. We will take a look at the Founders Edition when it gets here day one on the Emceemur show, and if the kids get into it, I might buy some of the other colored ones too. The purple one looks awesome, and I just thought the original white one with the blue lighting looked cool too. They're trying to bring back family co-op gameplay on the couch, or other competitive gameplay, and, you know, I'm down with that. Something that I'm interested in having in the house to look at. Got both, hoping for the 2020 edition. Well, the old edition is kind of in a grayish blue box, and the first one's in a white and blue box. And they're both still available, so you got to really be sure which one you're picking up. And I've talked about that too with the Blast models out there. You know, there's like 3 different freaking Pac-Man ones by now, so. The good news is, any of them you get, you can have a blast with adding games too. So, and I'm glad that I have both for the other stuff that's on them. The arcade ROMs on both are worth having both for. Bobby is going home. What in God's name is that? I'm afraid I don't know. We're about to find out. Well, I think we know who Bobby is. Bobby's got one heck of a delay on that jump. Okay, Bobby looks like he might have been a Smurf that didn't make the team. And every time I hit the C button, it starts over, so we won't do that again. Ooh, this looks treacherous, Bobby. Can't trust it. Oh, Bobby, that bird, though. Okay, so this is some side-scrolling stuff, obviously. Valentine's Eve 1996 says, I hope AtGames makes a portable version of the Legends Flashback. I guess it depends on if they could get that emulate. I mean, they did a portable Atari system, and I would want to say that it's got to be similar. It certainly should not be impossible to do. I mean, if we can have Vitas that fit in our hands, certainly you could make a portable version of the Legends Flashback. And that would be neat when you think about how much you have here to be able to take that with you. Look at this. We got this ground. It's like ebbing and flowing here. That's scary. And I completely timed it wrong. And Bobby is not going home officially as of this moment. Sorry, Bobby. I'm not very good at this. Yeet, Bobby. Okay, Bobby wanted to go home. He's an emo Smurf with a black hat. Sorry, Bobby. Bobby Nobby. Oh, I went right off the edge there. I was trying to get on the edge. I think I'm out of Bobbies after this. Poor Bobby. Well, that's it for Bobby. Bobby, we hardly knew ye. That's not the worst game I've ever played. I've had people write in saying, why would you even want 2600 games? They're garbage and you can't play them. And that's a hard thing for me to defend, because even coming from the time where all we had was 2600s, I can't tell people today that all of these games are playable. They're not, okay? I mean, there were some really, really bad 2600 games that did not work. A Chuck Norris game. But I am, I'm nostalgic for a lot of these. Back in the Day Gamer has joined us. Welcome back in the day. And what's happening YouTube, while we may be on the tail end of this stream, we've been checking out ROMs, both Sega and Atari, having recently added them to the Legends Flashback with the help of our friends E.C. Myers and John at Gen X Grown Up. So look at Chuck Norris. Yeet, stick figure Chuck Norris. Oh, he can kick. Okay. There was a time when this was it, dude. And you were glad to be able to do it. And I just got a shuriken to the peanuts. I'm not really sure what makes him kick. Look at the stick figure tractor guy. Is that who I'm fighting? This and, Double Dragon on the 2600, unplayable, man. There's no way you can make them physically do what you need to do to win. Mark Racer has joined us too. Sorry I'm not keeping up with the chat as good, guys, but we had an issue with the chat first thing on the stream, and as you can see, it's not on screen. It's making it a little harder for me to keep up with your comments, but believe me, I appreciate each and every one of them, and I'm so glad that everybody came out tonight to see what we're doing. Even if it is playing with a stick figure Chuck Norris on a 2600 on an AtGames Legend Flashback Deluxe in 2020. That just means that much more that you're willing to sit through that. What is making him punch? Okay, I can hit the button standing still and it does nothing. Chuck, we appreciate you. What was that last game was? Bobby is Going Home. That was the name of it. And Bobby looked to be a Smurf that didn't make the team, wearing a black outfit instead of a blue or a white one. And not the most unplayable Atari game I've ever seen. So yeah, while we are running out of time for tonight, I do want to conclude with at least one more Genesis game. Because that's just how it is. God, and Sector X is a good one. Ernest Evans is a decent one. God, there's just so much. I'm going to do it. I'm sorry. Jake Wheely's in the house. Welcome, JW. You're just in time to see the tail end of our stream. And even so, you're not too late. This could arguably be the best part. I know I'm a glutton for punishment. I can't help it. God, it's great. The music's great. The artwork is phenomenal. The translation is god-awful. And the gameplay ain't much better. But Telenet gave us so many great games. And included in that list is Beast Wrestler. Some of the sickest box art, too, ever. What other game can you play where you have a giant 30-foot tall beast wrestling in a ring that you genetically beef up with steroids and buy bullwhips to beat him with to make him tougher, to up your stats, and then wrestle? I'm just going to tell you, it doesn't get much cooler than that. Why can't we have a modern day Beast Wrestler? Even a bovice like you mean a novice, and you forgot the space between this and Beast. Turdo the Dragon. Yes. I always do the Magnum Dash. Let's do the Fling Screw. You genetically engineer it. You actually will take a dead beast that you've already beaten up and breed them together to make a new beast and continue on with that beast. GMGRS. Golden Mice and a Gamer Retro Style. You have a long name, so we're going to go with GMG. But welcome to the tail end of our live stream. I can see why people stream for 2 hours, because in 1 hour, the tube barely gets the notifications out to anybody. But an hour is usually what we have allotted for a time slot. So maybe in the future we'll do some longer ones. But hey, you're not too late to see Beast Wrestler. Oh, he's got me in a tail choke. Oh, he got me in a scoop slam. I'll wear him down with tail whips. Whip! Whip! See, the hitbox is just where it is. So it looks like I couldn't hit him right there. But that's exactly where I need to be to hit him. I mean, I can punch him right here. I'm punching him in the knee and I'm nowhere near him. It's like Fire Pro hitboxes, but even worse. Oh, he didn't do his move. The fling screw you have to lock up. There we go. Badoosh! He did not approve of that. Look how little the people are in the audience. That's how big these things are. Now imagine a current gen game like this, where you genetically engineer monsters and fight with them. Got him again. The Duncha Scrunch! This new Godzilla looks fantastic. Welcome, BFF. Yeah, on the cover, that's what he looks like. It's like a live action depiction on the box art, and it looks totally boss. This game is enough to piss off the good humor man sometimes in its inaccuracies, but it has a great campaign to play through with multiple beast mutations, and whichever beast you pick changes your path, so to speak. And it's got a 1v1 mode where you can play it with a friend, and y'all can pick all the different beasts from the game to use, even though you only play as yours and what you mutate them to be in the game. E.C. Myers is here. You're late, but not too late to see Beast Wrestling. The winner is Turdo. So that was the preliminary. And the enemy trainers don't really play a role in the game, but they're given a name and a face, and it's like, that's cool. I'd like to see them play more of a role, though, you know? Almost like a Pokemon trainer kind of thing. And you can see your 3 stats. Your PP is your power. LP is your life power, and SP is your speed. So, I've experimented with some different monster builds. The only thing that really makes a difference is when you don't have enough strength, but you have everything else. And your life... I can't really tell a difference in the speeds, but one day we'll experiment with that more. Just completely geek a monster out on speed and see what he can do. Now see, here's the problem, and they don't... They didn't think about this in development. The fling screw is my finishing move, and I've got to lock up with a monster to do that. I can't grapple this worm on the floor. They don't give you that option. So I would lose this match. That's why you don't ever pick the fling screw. You have to pick the Magnum Dash. Now, as you mutate your monster, you're going to have other powers, because once they mutate, you're going to have different moves. But initially, if you pick anything but the Magnum Dash... I don't know. That's a tough road there. I don't know how you do that. I don't know that I've ever done it. Not that you can't make them tap out from striking them, but they tap 3 times. And they do it from taking damage. And that's what the 3 counters at the bottom are for. I'm lurking while I try to no death run Double Dragon. That sounds like the best night ever. It really does. And leave it to the biggest guns in the gaming business to no death run some Double Dragon. Now that I've got my Double Dragon machine in the garage, I haven't had enough time to really play it, like try to no death run that thing. Because you think about the quarters you would put it in the arcade, and it's like, okay, now I'm not putting quarters in it. At least not ones I'm not going to get back. And I want to see, you know, how much better can I get at the arcade version. There's an arcade version of Double Dragon on the Sega Genesis that Ballistic, whom we've already talked about tonight, published. And I believe there was one they did on the Game Boy Advance that was really good. That's rare and kind of expensive today. And I don't have that one, but... See, if you're going to take this guy out with just strikes, you got a long road ahead. I would have put Arcus Odyssey in, but I'd have played the whole thing through and beat it. I can't stop once I start. And the Super Famicom Arcus Odyssey is on the Super Nintendo ROM set that we used, Arcus Spirits. And there's also a version of Arcus Spirits translated that I desperately want to play. That's on here. And I don't even have to have it translated because I know what the items are by looking at them, but I don't know, without the dialogue it loses something. Is the console behaving? Yes, it actually is behaving just fine. The restream chat was what wasn't. And that's why the chat is not on the screen this evening. But I didn't want to can the stream over that. And I can't even get down and choke him out. You literally can do nothing with this enemy but just strike him repeatedly. And here's the thing. You have a time limit on your matches. And they don't rule it a draw at the end. Like if you're up 3-2 on your little dots down there, then you'll win by decision. There can be a draw, which technically is still a loss because you have to beat that enemy. He just ain't taking no for an answer. We haven't even got one click on him yet with all the times we've struck him. It is always something, man. I know you stream a lot, EC. We talked about that before you got in here, that, you know, you do some pretty cool streams on your channel. So I know you know it is always something. And I'm not streaming as much these days. I don't want to sound negative or anything. I mean, but it's just... it's such a pain to do. I don't mind putting the work in, but without a special event to do it for, I just don't see much in the way of results from stream. So I try just to do them now where if we have something we really need to take a look at as a community and not as an actual scheduled thing. And that's just working better for me personally. I know some people just stream, and that's what they do. And then that's their focus, and that's cool. And at one point it was mine, but, you know, now it's like, I've had so many problems with it, and I'm so busy producing, editing, and uploading that I don't even have time for the scheduled streams anymore. They just don't fit. They don't make sense with the model of where my channel's at right now. But I do love doing these time and time again, and having everybody come out to see them. And, you know, I let everybody know on social media and community posts before we're going to do one. There's still likely always going to be Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So if one's going down, you'll know it. And if you hit that notification bell, you will also know it, hypothetically, if the tube actually sends you a notification. We're out of time for tonight, guys. We really are. We went a good bit over, but man, look at what you saw here tonight. We saw some games that you don't normally see. We saw some Atari stuff that I've never even seen before, and that's why you want these things, you know. And yes, Unc, I haven't forgotten that at all. And you'll see more of me over there too, you know, on occasion. But man, this was really cool to take a look at. I hope you liked what you saw. Any of you that are watching this in the recap, I hope that you'll leave me something in the comment section about what you saw here and what you think about, you know, this thing. Do you want one of these things? You're going to get one of these things. Would you do the surgery on one of these things? Would you put the ROMs on one of these things? Do you have a friend that's already done this to one of these things? Has he invited you over to see this thing? As you went over to the house to play the thing? Was he glad that you came over? Did he invite you over to have breakfast before you came over here to play the thing? Did he actually invite you over to dinner so you go over there and then stay the night, wake up the next day and play the game before you had breakfast with your friend? I want to know everything about it. Let me know your thoughts. That's what we're here to do, is to network and to talk. I hope everybody's going to drop a like on this. I hope if you have not already done so that you're going to subscribe to Mur-Nation, be a part of Mur-Nation, rise up all the fantastic things we do right here on the show. You need to be part of it. Make sure that you smack that notification bell so you're always the first to know when new content goes live. Because you know that I love making it for you. Emceemur signing out for this fantastic TNL. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out, and I'll see each and every one of you again next time.